choose country in the new Casablanca. Join the boys in the sun and explore all that Spain has to offer.
Come on, unbid me. I haven't even done anything. All I said was that he'd stop Kitty going in your window box. And do you really think globe artichokes were the best thing to start with?
There you are. Look. Brilliant. You see, they make them just down from the apartment. I3 and me, we've got your best interests at heart as we're flogging our guts out on the Costa so you can go down the pub every night. What is it? The hearse and pallbearer. How is it there? He's been barred? What for? With the landlady's dog? Well, he was a beast with Kitty, but giving a poodle cut to an Old English, I can understand the barring me. So where's he drinking now? The Ferret and Spanner or the Frog and Pump? Well, in today's programme, you're going to make me do the Spanish on the beach. I remember all that, the history there. Then we go on to Cuera with its pirates and castles. That sounds like a pub. And then on to Gandia with its Borgia's Palace. That sounds like a pub as well. And lots of other bits. The Frog and Pump, it hasn't still got the redhead with the shorts, has it? He didn't. Did he? Last one in's a sissy. Hey, Cuera. Fantastic, look at that. Coming down the coast from the north we are. What? I know it's not the Costa Blanca. Look, I just said we'd go north to south. Does it? Look, it's a Costa. That's a Costa. Costa Valencia. Costa Blanca's just down there. We'll get there, slowly, but surely. Hey. Miss Jones, just leave my clothes here and go in the sea. Reggie Perrin. Rising. You'd rather have the rise and fall of the Spanish Empire. OK, where did I leave it last time? 1492, OK, that's when the Moors were kicked out of Granada, 1492. I'm going to go backwards, first of all. 711 is when the Moors first came to Spain and conquered it. 16 years later, the Christians won their first battle against them. 765 years later, they kicked them out of Granada. Now that's some battle. I've been in this battle for 765 years. Fantastic. All right, I'll go south. Anyway, the reason that they managed to kick the Moors out was because Isabella married Ferdinand. Two big powers brought together, Spain, big, plenty powerful. Of course, they had lots of other help doing it, like the Knights Templar and El Cid and all sorts of people like that. Then they wanted to get a pure Christian race. So the Spanish Inquisition started, and that mainly involved kicking Jews out of the country, 400,000 of them, and murdering loads. At the same time, I know, I leave footprints going this way and you leave them going that way. It's funny, isn't it? Well, I thought it was. At the same time, Christopher Columbus discovered America, which of course he thought was India. And that started a period where Spain went out exploring, as did we Brits. And we kept bumping into one another and trying to steal the best bits. And that caused a bit of friction. And then Mary Queen of Scots said, I claim the throne of Britain. And Spain supported her, and that caused even more friction. In 1588, the Spanish Armada, bang, just off the coast of Portsmouth. Wallop, I am a walking computer. Ask me anything, I can tell you the answer. What time is it? It's... You knew that. You knew I've left that watch. You're just teasing. It's time you did some pretty pictures with some music. Huh. Absolutely fabulous. What lovely pictures those were. Goodness gracious, Dr. Camera, well done. Now, have we got time for a bit more history? Because you had it all along. Taking the Michael out of me. Now, where was I up to? Don't tell me. Philip V of the Bourbon dynasty. That's right. Now, he came in 1700, King of Spain, but Austria said, hold on a minute, our bloke should be on the throne. The Brits said, absolutely with you, Austria. Big war of succession, lasts for 13 years, and they sign a treaty that says, you lose those bits of Spain, but Philip V can be the king. OK, no problem. His family, mainly French. So Spain gets into bed with France, big style. Bit of a problem because along comes Napoleon and another war. Spain has to fight with France against us Brits. Nelson does for the Spanish fleet off Trafalgar. The Spaniards are hacked off. We've had enough. You then go into a period where there is a royal family, there isn't. There is, there isn't. It's a bit of a mess. Everything's going horribly wrong, just like my mouth. And one bloke takes advantage of it. He's in Morocco, he's in the Spanish army, his name is General Franco, and he comes in on a wave of communism. Is that some sort of educated joke, is it? Right, well, ironically, he brought in Moroccans, as in Moors, to take Spain in the name of Christianity. Hey, what goes around comes around. On his deathbed, he says, I want Juan Carlos to succeed me, which he does. But Juan Carlos is a clever man, and he realises that Franco's ideas are not really going to work. So becomes King Juan Carlos, and we all live happily ever after. He's a nice geezer, and we toast him. Only I need a cocktail.
This time is champagne sangria. Do you like it? I'm sure you love it. Let's try it. Well, first of all, we've got the champagne. We're going to put some ice cubes into the jar. That would be enough. The main ingredient, champagne. In Spain, you will buy cava. That is the main ingredient. It's a very nice, light drink. That would be enough. To give a little bit of taste, we'll add up peach snaps, or in England I think it's called Archers. Also, some more fruity drink, apple snaps. You're gonna love this one. Now we put some lemonade. Oh, it's always a very important part in the cocktails. Put a little bit more. And finished up with some color. And in this one, instead of putting loads of fruit, we're just going to add up only very few parts to float on the top and give it a bit of color. Now we have it ready. It's a colorful, fizzy, champagne drink. So far it's done. We'll get a glass. Let's take this out a bit. You'll love this one. Specially made for you. I knew she was going to like it. I'm sure so. Yes, I knew.
Well, what do you expect at the bottom of a tree? Ina Sharple's hairnet. Ina Sharp. Coronation. Oh, I don't know. I can't do Mavis, can I? I don't know. All right, then try this one. Ha ha! Me hot is. Piece of eight. Piece of eight. Pirates. Right, Quiera suffered the nasty bit of pirate raids for centuries. In fact, 15th, 16th and 17th century, over from northern Africa, because this was a centre for gold merchants. So the pirates used to sail up the river, just like these fishermen do today, get in here and bish bosh, loads of dosh. So the Spaniards thought, we're getting a bit fed up of this, we ought to do something about it. So way up high on yonder hill, they buildeth a lookout tower. Shall we get thee hence? Can you see the tower? Absolutely. 16th century. You could have seen the pirates coming from there in those days, especially seeing as how there wouldn't have been any high-rise buildings in front of you. Now look, I'm going through my one of my many reference books, and it says here, for a century, Spanish coins, gold escudos and silver reals had been the universal currency of the Mediterranean world and America. From the 8 real coin came the expression, pieces of 8. Ha ha! I didn't know that. Look, there's the river coming right the way in to the town. Quiera, it means peak high or high peak. You get me into a fit of high peak sometimes. The castle is much like some of the other castles we've seen. It's on a big rock. Iberian, Roman, Arab, Spanish, old El Conquistador, who else? Actually, he split it in half and gave half to the Knights Hospitaller and half to Aragon. And it stayed split in half for quite some time. There you go. Now I've got to do someone else to get us into the break, so... The thing about Quiera is we've got to go and take a break. So we've travelled about 25 kilometres from Quiera down to Gandia, and before you even start to say it, the Costa Blanca is just round the corner. Here we are, programme 6 down here. In fact, why don't you get the first eye in the editing suite to do a map to show our progression down the east coast of Spain? Go on. If he's a map maker, I'm the Pope. Talking of which, I've come here to Gandia to see the Borgia Palace. And before you stick your clever finger up, it's there. We're going to walk round, knock on the door, see if they're in. Come on. In fact, before we go on about the Borgias, I'm going to do Tim's top tip. And we don't need that. This one's from the heart. If you're coming to Spain doing a bit of exploring, don't expect to have lovely little signs saying castle this way, because it's more likely to be pointing that way or that way, or... And some roads that do exist don't exist on the maps. So a bucket full of patience, please, and also find out where reverse is, because you're going to need it. That's the palace. It doesn't exactly look palatial. Well, it's big, but it probably did when there wasn't a road around it and cars parked up to it in the past. We first came across the Borgias, if you remember, in Zátiva. Now, there were 2 of them that became Pope from the same family. The second one was a right bad piece of work who sent his daughter, Lucretia, out to do all sorts of nastiness in order to acquire lots of wealth for the family. So what did they do with that wealth? Well, they bought a dukedom. This dukedom. The dukedom of Gandia. And I've always fancied being a duke, so... what do you reckon? Got a few bob. You could do it, couldn't I? You've just got to go and ask the king, apparently, and say, can I buy one of the dukedoms? It was Pedro Louis Borgia who bought the dukedom, and it has to be said that Gandia got stronger and richer and a much, much nicer place to live once the Borgias arrived. In fact, a relative of his, many, many years later, Francis, became a saint because of all of the good work that he did all over Spain, setting up colleges and all sorts of things. So out of evil, you got good. Look at that. Number 1, Gandia.
Go away, English, having siesta.
They've got a bit of post. Probably some bills. Now, we need to move on, and because we've been, backwards and forwardsing a bit, we need to put some petrol in the car. So, maybe the dukedom will have to go on ice for a day or two. I have no idea why petrol's at the front of this list, but it is. Petrol.
Gasolina.
Gasolina. Okay, but if it's a unleaded petrol, it's sin plumo?
Sin plomo.
Sin plomo.
Plomo.
Okay, fine. Olives.
Aceitunas.
Aceitunas. Aceitunas.
Aceitunas.
That's the th sound again. Onion.
Again, cebolla. Cebolla.
Cebolla.
Cebolla.
Cebolla. No, there's something at the end.
Cebolla. It's like a ja. Ja.
Cebolla.
Cebolla.
Right. And what have I learned? Oh, salt.
Sal.
Sal. And pepper?
Pimienta.
Pimienta. Okay. Gasolina. Sin plomo. I must remember that. Okay, fine. Hey, there he is! The Duke, the Fourth, San Francisco, the Borgia, or Borja, as you should really say it. Hey, San Francisco left his heart in Gandia. You wouldn't get that, would you? I left my... It's Vivaldi for you, isn't it? Look at that, if you want something classical. A beautiful front to the town hall. 1781. Who needs notes when it's written on the building for you? This place, invented something interesting. Paella without rice. You see, the fishermen, they went out to sea, and then they were all at sea because they realised they'd forgotten their rice. But they had some flat spaghetti. They mixed the fish in with it. They called it fidu, and it's dead famous to this day. But we're not doing it in our foodie bits. Today, we're going to do some soups, Spanish style, starting off with one that seems a little bit French, but it's different, an onion soup. Okay, this is how to do it Spanish style. Some onions here, loosely cut, with some butter, and they are being cooked at a very low temperature for about an hour or so. When the onions are done, you add some garlic, salt and pepper, in other words, seasoning, and some stock. Cook some more, and leave it. You're going to have to do it about a day before, so prepare yourself with that one. Over here, gazpacho. We call gazpacho. No cooking at all involved in this one. It's a cold soup. Right, tomatoes, onion, pepper, 2 cloves of garlic, and some cucumber peeled. Put the lot in a blender, zap with some cold water. Take it out of the blender. Now, wet some white bread, squeeze it, squeeze the water out, add with it some parsley and some oil into the blender. Then you can put the lot together, and then you can add some vinegar, sherry, and a little bit of salt to taste. Put it in the fridge, and if you want to serve it Spanish style, this is it, by the way. You take a little bit of everything that's gone into it, and you present it on a plate, and people can drop it into onions, right? Drop it into the soup as they please. A little bit of tomato, like that. Gazpacho. Brilliant. So, soup at the beginning of a meal and port at the end. Walk this way. You've got trainers on. Brill, you're chilling out. You can stop doing the silly walk now. You see, the art of comedy is timing. Do you know what Gandia is famous for? Orange juice. Oh, rip it up and start again. I don't know why I try pop music on you. Yep, they got rich on silk and sugarcane, and the money they got from it they used to plant orange trees. In 1850, they exported 6,842 tons of oranges. This year, they'll export 3 million. That's a lot of oranges. This place is full of them. They're virtually falling out of the air.
There you go, naranja, an orange. Lemon is limon, beer is cerveza, and in your case, water is agua. It's not at all unusual to see acres upon acres of these orange trees. What? Hectares upon hectares. I knew that. Anyway, they grow on the flat lands that come from the hill to the sea, you see? That's why this land has been fought over so much. What? Effluvial ice flows that flow are like an icy river mouth to the sea, crushing all lava before it, thus leaving an effective soil base. What exactly is a dinner at Shay's I3 like, hey? Effluvial ice flows, a bit of Vivaldi, and the sound of molar against baked beans. I can't wait not to be invited. Right. Show them that valley with the grapes near Gata, and watch out for those oranges. The Halon Valley, over there, the village of Halon, protected by its emir. The middle 13th century, the Christians come over the hill, a huge battle commences, 25,000 people dead. Now, some vines, planted here by the Arabs, muscatel. I have not drunk them all dry. It's the wrong time of the year. You've ruined the pathos of the piece now. Anyway, I've saved you some. Look, there you go. You'll notice that the Arabs are very good at irrigation, which is why I stayed on the stones and you're standing in mud.
Are both eyes the same? One's up to his white socks in mud and the other's over his baseball cap in Duff graphics. Do you think you could just get your acts together for a brief moment and show us a meaningful compilation of some of the places we've seen on our journey down nearly to the Costa Blanca? There's Cuillera in the distance. We've come all the way down the coast. Next time we're going to be on the Costa Blanca. Wow! And that is Gandia done. Hey! Gandhi. Dickie Attenborough. I met him, you know. I was there. He was doing the final edit on Shadowlands. And he said to me, Tim Lovey, what do you think? I said, Dickie, darling, it's a BAFTA. You don't understand. You're not even impressed, are you? Us award winners, we stick together. I bet you've never even been on the stage, have you? Have you? What do you do? You didn't, did you? What, with your sword strapped to it?